Have you ever woke up from a good night's sleep thinking immediately, first thought across your mind, I want to discover God's dream for my life? If so, I think that you are an anomaly. And what's interesting is usually the things that we need the most are often the most hidden, not available, not accessible to our minds, to our eyes, that run across our path in life. So I'm not sure that most people wake up thinking, I want God's dream for my life. And that's why I created this video, to let you know that God's dream for your life is the best thing you could ever want. And I will briefly explain how God's dream will deepen your relationship with Him. But then again, even if you do call yourself a Christian, you may not consider deepening your relationship with Father God, because most Christians are introduced to their faith through Jesus, and they believe that is where you stay in your relationship. But what's incredible about Jesus is, as the hero of our faith, He doesn't keep us where we are when we first began. He leads us into a deeper relationship with Him, which will naturally lead you into a deeper relationship with Father God, because if you have a relationship with Jesus, you're not just connected with Him, but you are introduced into a life with Father God. It's a package deal. Jesus is inseparable from the Father. So I want to bless you by telling you that God's dream can deepen your relationship with Him. And if you haven't considered connecting deeply with Father God before, or discovering His dream for your life, I pray this inspires you. So, like many people from every walk of life, you have probably found yourself in a place where you needed clarity and direction for what to know next in your life. You may have felt stuck trying to figure life out on your own. And as a result, your life story may be stagnant. So you may have wanted to discover your dream. What's your dream? Or if you did and you were stuck, you were wondering, what is the next step to achieve your dream? I want to encourage you to invite Father God in your life story so that He can introduce His dream for your life. Let me explain. Your life story has two parts, an external part and an internal part. So your external life story, I'll give you an example. Walking here to the secluded place, I'm at my favorite secluded place at the backside of a cemetery. You may have heard the noise pollution. I'm in Canton, Georgia. There's a lot of commotion going on, a lot of cars. Anyhow, I found the secluded place in the cemetery in downtown historic Canton. On my way to this spot, I walked through the cemetery gates, and to my surprise, I found at the top of a brick pillar with concrete dome money. I just happened to look up and I saw some sparkling circular shapes. So I had to step up onto the brick step to even look at the top of the pillar, and I found money. So I've got these quarters and dimes, and Father God spoke to me. He said, I will show you where to find money. And it was in the context of answering my prayer for business, because I'm in the middle of building a business, which is his dream for my life, Father God's dream for my life. Anyhow, I invited him into my life story today. I took a pause, I prayed, I asked Father God, what do you want to do today? So that was an example of an external life story experience. I was just walking up to the cemetery like I usually do, but this time it was different because I had not seen money in this place before. And it was kind of fun to discover it because I was curious about the story behind it. Why would somebody put money in this weird hidden spot? It was like it was treasure reserved for someone looking for rare rewards in life. That's what it felt like. And that's what inviting Father God into your story is like as well. It's inviting Father God to write out this fun story where he's got these hidden rewards for all who seek him. So that was an external example of a life story. An internal example of a life story is how you tell your story of your life to yourself inside your own heart and mind and soul, your will and emotions. It's the narrative you tell yourself. So I'm not going to venture there yet. You may not be ready. It takes a lot of surrender, a lot of trust, a lot of vulnerability, honesty to allow Father God into your internal life story. So I'm encouraging you to invite him into your external life story, to have adventures with him. When you invite Father God into your external life story and you look out for how he can show up in your life circumstances, in your life events, in your life experiences, you may be surprised by what he will do to make himself evident in your life. And when you experience things, not just writing them off as coincidence or weird in your life story, your external life story, when you take the time to acknowledge, ooh, Father God may be at work now, then you begin to build shared history. So your life story was made open, you made room, space for Father God to operate in your life story, and then you started developing shared history. It's from the buildup of an invitation into your life story and then shared history that you begin to establish relationship. That's when you know you begin establishing relationship with anybody, is your shared history. And then from that milestone in your relationship, you have a reference point to look back at to see how you are growing in your relationship with that person, or in this case with Father God. So you invited him into your life story, you begin building shared history, which I experienced on the way here to the secluded spot by finding money. And from that shared history, you begin developing or deepening relationship. And like I said, in my experience of finding that money today on the way here to shoot this video, I found the money, and that's when Father God spoke to me. He introduced his perspective on the experience. So it was a shared history where he shared his perspective, and I heard from him. He spoke to my heart. And then that deepened our relationship because I received what he spoke about how we are building business together. And I got the assurance that this business will be profitable and prosperous when he told me that he will show me where to find money. And in that object lesson of finding the money on the brick pillar, he reinforced what he had already promised me with this experience. Isn't that cool? So our life story is enriched when we invite Father God into it. And then it's enlarged. It's not just our life story as in individually my own, but it can become ours as in Father God and mine when we have those shared experiences, and then we build relationship. And over time, as you invite him into your life story faithfully, I encourage you every day do that. You begin to build more shared history, shared experiences, and then as you trust him more and he proves himself more to you, he begins to share his dream for your life. And the reason why you can recognize his dream when he begins to reveal it is because you already have a track record of doing life with him, experiencing life with him. So when he introduces something new, you've already begun to acknowledge him and anticipate his activity in your life, expect his work in your life. You can start discerning his dream in your life. And the beautiful thing about Father God introducing his dream in your life is because of your shared history and that past point of reference of relationship building over time, you buy in to how Father God's dream is an invitation to take you deeper into a relationship with him. And you know, because he has shown up in the past in your life story experiences with any number of surprises or unexpected events that turned out well. And even if the unexpected events did not start off well, you witnessed Father God turning them around for your good to work out well in the end. You know that his invitation for you to enter his dream will just continue the adventure. So you will deepen your life story, build more shared history, enrich relationship experiences, and start establishing his dream in your life. It's his dream that will help you connect deeply with him. And then the epiphany will happen. Your purpose, your dream that you may have started out seeking on your own to fulfill yourself, can't compare to Father God's dream for your life. And with Father God's perspective, his participation in the way that he presents his dream to you, inviting you into it, you realize that his dream is not to pursue an outcome or an external end or an ultimate purpose. It's to establish and experience a deepening, enriching relationship with him. That's the whole point of life. It's in walking with Father God in the dream that you will just be led to the goals, to the dream results. But you'll see. Your heart will yearn. You'll long for experiencing Father God along the way, and you'll understand it's all about the relationship. The end results are just the rewards. It's just the cherry on top. So I hope this framework that I presented wasn't too complex. I tried to map it out in a simple way to encourage you that you can witness the invisible God, Father God, who loves you, who pursues you, who seeks you out. You can witness him in your external world. And when you trust him and you're ready to receive him in your internal life, your inscape, you'll witness him establishing a rich relationship with you in your internal life story. And then he can begin sharing his perspective on the narrative you always believed about yourself and the story that you always told yourself to live. And you may be surprised, because Father God's perspective on your life is the true perspective of who he created you to be and what he created you to do. Not on your own, but with him and his dream for your life. I hope this encourages you to connect deeply with Father God and discover his dream for your life. My name is Donovan. I will see you in the next video.